Alex Burst.
And I'm Noah Zingarelli.
And welcome to Conscious
Kitchen,
where we teach you fun, delicious, and nutritious plant-based recipes. Today, I am pretty stoked about this recipe. This is the perfect meal for summer. We're gonna get a little creative here. We're making some watermelon poke bowls. So I know what you might be thinking. Isn't a poke bowl made with tuna? Yes, but in a plant-based world, we are going to substitute that with watermelon. So we're going to marinate this watermelon to make it taste fishy, umami. It's gonna taste like tuna. But first things first, let's get started with our rice.
Right, so the rice takes about 20 minutes to cook, so we need to get it going right away. So I've got about 1 cup of rice here in the strainer. And I wanna just run this under water for about a minute until the water runs clean, and the rice will be ready to throw in our rice cooker, which is a great way to cook rice.
So making sure that water runs clear is what we're looking for. And this rice cooker is a little beat up, but Noah bought this, how many years ago would you say?
Over 25 years ago, easily.
Over 25 years ago.
All right. Rice looks good. I'm gonna pop it in like so.
So what's the ratio for Jasmine rice?
Well, for Jasmine, so I've got 1 cup of rice and I've got 1.5 cups of water. So Jasmine is a little different than other white rices like basmati. You need a slightly less water. Usually it's a 2-to-1 ratio, but today we are 1 to 1.5. So rice is in there. It's a set and forget type of thing. Love the rice cooker, so that's gonna just cook away and we're going to get ready to make the tuna.
We're gonna make our tuna. So rice cooker is nice because like Noah said, you can just forget about it. If you're making rice on a stove, which you can totally do, you just have to make sure you don't forget about it, that the bottom doesn't scorch.
Right.
So first things first, or second things second, we're gonna move on to our tuna and start with our marinade. So a couple different fun ingredients here. We've got coconut aminos, 1/4 cup. We're gonna put that right in here. And then I have 2 tablespoons of liquid aminos. This is like a soy sauce, basically, a healthier version of a soy sauce.
And the coconut aminos adds a little sweetness, correct?
Right, yeah. Coconut aminos is sweeter. It's a little bit thicker in viscosity. We're also gonna add 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. So here's our acid component. We've got 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. And then 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. And we want to add a little bit of heat, so I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon of sriracha. And then I'll give this to you to use later. And lastly, first I'm going to give this a little mix so that our powders dissolve and everything comes together nicely. And then lastly, I've got some torn up sheets here of nori, which is just dried seaweed. So this is gonna be our umami component. It's really important when you're creating a dish to balance your flavor. So do you know the 5 tastes?
Salty.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sour.
Yep.
Bitter.
Yep.
And umami.
Umami. So this is our umami component, right? Our sweet is our coconut aminos. Salty is liquid aminos. We've got our acid in there. And our umami here is, umami translates to pleasantly savory taste. And foods that are high in the amino acid glutamate are gonna give off that umami flavor. And since this is supposed to be like a fish substitute, this is also gonna make it taste a little bit like the ocean. So you can use dulse flakes if you have them. We had some extra nori lying around, so I'm just gonna rip this up and throw it in. Do you mind putting these in the sink?
Yep.
And then while that is steeping in there, I'm gonna dice up our watermelon. So think about a tuna poke bowl, right? You have nice, beautiful dice, smallish dice of tuna. So we're just gonna do that with our watermelon here. It's already a beautiful color, but this marinade is gonna really help to kind of deepen the color nicely. I want about, I'd say 2 cups of watermelon for this marinade, and that's going to be more than enough. So we're going to throw this in here. I am so excited that it's watermelon season. Noah and I have been eating watermelon every single day.
Yeah, it's our favorite, I think, for the summer. I mean, we could
Totally.
eat a whole big bowl of it. It's so hydrating. We've been eating like a lot of fruit lately, especially watermelon, and we're just like, Like, oh, we're so hydrated.
Feels great.
Feeling good.
So that little bit of marinade is all we really need. We're just gonna give this a good toss and let it sit. And while we're doing this, I know what you might be thinking, right? Well, there's no protein in this, but this is not our protein component. So we're actually gonna be adding edamame to our poke bowl, which Noah is gonna get cooking along with cutting up some of our veg for this bowl.
Right. So we've got our edamame here, shelled already and ready to go in the boiling water. So you just want to put a pot of boiling water. This is one package of edamame. I think it's about 12 ounces or so. And my water's boiling nice. I added about a half a teaspoon of salt to the water. So just get it in there. Bring it back up to a boil, because the edamame is frozen. So it's going to come back up to a boil. Give it a little stir. Once it comes back up to a boil, you want to cook it 4 or 5 minutes, not too long. You don't want to totally zap all the color out of it. So I've got this on. I'm going to keep an eye on that. And so while I'm watching the edamame, I'm going to start to cut up our cucumber, which is going to add to the poke bowl. It's going to give it a nice crispy and crunchy component.
And a bright color. I'm gonna throw this in the fridge so that it gets nice and cold. The longer you marinate this, obviously, the more flavorful it's going to be. So let's pop this in here for now.
The first time I had a watermelon poke bowl was, I think we were traveling in Australia. That was the first time I ever tried it, and I didn't understand what it was. I was like, how do they make tuna from watermelon? But when I tried it, I was blown away. Like, it really did taste like tuna. It's crazy.
And I think the second time we've had watermelon poke bowls was yesterday when we tested this recipe out. And I have to say, ours was a lot better than the one we had in Australia.
Yeah, definitely.
No shade to that restaurant. It was really good, but it was a heavy soba noodle dish, so you really didn't get to celebrate the flavor of the poke. So poke bowls are so much fun. They're sort of like our Buddha bowls where, we have all these different components. We will not have a grain as the base of this bowl. We're just gonna have the grain, which is our white rice. But you can mix and match with this. You can use brown rice, you can use quinoa, you can add other vegetables, pickled vegetables. We are gonna be adding some pickled radishes, which Noah pickled yesterday. If you check out some of our previous episodes, you'll see our recipe for a quick pickle. Look at this color. This bowl is gonna be so bright and beautiful.
So I sliced these cucumbers in half and then doing little half moon cuts of that. It's about, I don't know, 1/4 inch thick or so. So working on this, and then after that I'm gonna make the sriracha mayo dish that's good, or sauce that's going to go in the bowl.
Spicy mayo.
Spicy mayo.
Right? Spicy mayo is easy to veganize. We just use our favorite vegan-ace, which is a vegan mayo, and throw in some sriracha or hot sauce, chili paste of your liking. You can make it as spicy or as not spicy as you like, but we'll give that a nice drizzle over the top.
Yeah. And this is so good for summer because, it's hot. I don't know about where you are, but it's getting really hot where we are on Long Island. And you don't really want to throw the oven on and do a lot of heavy cooking. So to put together a dish like this, it's delicious. It's not just, typical boring salad or something like that. It's got a lot of great flavor. It really pops. It's cooling.
So fun. I'm so proud of this dish. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, we were talking in a previous episode about Ayurveda, which is the science of life. And Ayurvedic cooking really stresses eating the proper tastes for the proper time of year. So in summer, we want foods that are sweet, we want foods that are astringent. So rice is actually a sweet food that helps to keep us grounded and feeling good. And then astringent foods are drying. So think about raw fruits and vegetables, right? There's so much produce that is available this time of year. We are so lucky with the incredible bounty out here in East Hampton. And those foods, they actually start to dry out the excess moisture, draw out some excess heat, and that's what we want to do in the summer. That's why watermelon, melons, cucumbers, all these really water-dense foods come into season this time of year because it's hot, right? And we need to refresh, we need to cool off, so that's what we're working on today.
All right, so here's our vegan mayo. I'm gonna just add it to the dish here and then squirt in a little sriracha and mix it well. You know, there's no real recipe for this. It's kind of, you want some nice color on it, and it's really to taste. I mean, I have a decent tolerance for hot, spicy foods, but I don't like too much. So I'm gonna add just a little squirt. You know, like we've also said, you can always, you know, add more, but you can't really take any out. So I'm gonna start with just a little bit of that. Love the smell of this sauce.
Wasn't there like a sriracha shortage a couple years ago?
Yes, there was. There was
Thank God that's over.
some controversy going on with the company or something, and they halted production. But to everyone's delight, they're back in action. So that's pretty good. I'm going to add a little more, like it a little darker and probably a little spicier. I put a decent amount of mayo in there. And then we have a squeeze bottle of the sriracha mayo that we pre-made. So
That we can drizzle our sauce over our bowl, make it look real nice.
Okay, that's looking good. I'm gonna give it a little taste too. Oh yeah, that's good. It's
Got the kick?
Yeah, perfect amount of heat. Enough where you taste it, but it's not gonna make your food inedible because it's too hot. All right, the edamame looks good. It's almost back to a boil. We're gonna say it's boiling. We'll give it a few minutes to boil, and then I'm gonna strain it, add it back here, and then we'll be on to the next step.
So what is edamame for those who may not know?
So edamame is just another name for a soybean. So it's like any bean, you know, it's high in protein, great source of fiber. Used a lot in Asian cuisine, and you'll probably have it in the shell if you've gone to a sushi restaurant. It's a great appetizer. So we get these shelled edamame. Most grocery stores carry it.
Yeah, they're really great to add into any kind of bowl or a green salad, just to eat on their own. So we're gonna strain those when they're about ready.
Yeah, give it like 1 more minute.
And then a few of our other things that we're gonna be working with here, we've got pickled ginger that we just store bought. You can obviously pickle your own, but we took a little shortcut. And then we have a mix of black and white sesame seeds that we'll be garnishing on top to make our dish look extra pretty. And then we're gonna slice up an avocado.
Yes.
This
All right.
avocado feels perfect.
So these look beautiful. If you could get an overhead shot here, the edamame, the color's still really nice. You know, the frost has been taken out of them, and it's got that nice bright color.
They're floating to the top.
Yeah, and they're floating to the top. So that's what you want to look for. Don't overcook these. You know, you really want to keep that color. So I'll strain these. You know, just shake out the excess water, and I'm just gonna bring this back. Gonna put it in our bowl, so when we're ready to add it to our poke bowl, it'll be all set. And it'll cool a little bit too. You don't want it to be piping hot either.
And in the meantime, I'm gonna cut up our avocado here. So you can definitely dice up your avocado. We're gonna slice it today, so just cutting it in half like so. I feel like I only learned this recently, but it's a different way to do it. So you actually just start to peel off the shell of the avocado. So that way you can get the whole avocado. Sometimes there's a little bit of the rind left behind, that's fine. But this way you can get a nice slice.
Yeah.
Let's peel a little bit of this off just so that we get that bright green color.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, and avocado is such a good source of healthy fats. You know, you do need some fats in your diet. Our body really requires them. So you can get healthy fats from avocados, nuts, seeds like pumpkin seed. We love all of those types of, and you know, also great sources of protein.
Yeah, and also this dish really needs a creamy element because we have pickled veg, we have raw veg, we have the crunchy edamame. It's nice to have a creamy element that kind of ties everything together. So I'm just gonna peel off this rind. This one's a lot better. And then place it on our cutting board and run my knife through it.
And I can see that the rice cooker is steaming, so that rice is cooking away in there. It's nice and hot. Probably be done fairly soon.
Let's hope so. Let's hope it's done in time. Right, so then we have our avocado here. I'll give it a little press so it kind of fans out. I'll probably use about 1/4 of an avocado per portion, so I'm going to save this one for later. Give my hands a quick little rinse, and then I actually have some of the marinated watermelon that I made yesterday, and then I would like to compare. Let's see how
Okay.
the flavors have come together. So
Right.
this is our one from yesterday. If you can take that.
All right. Well, you can see the color of the watermelon has changed.
Yeah, and this one almost looks like a little bit more gelatinized. If we could get an overhead of this. This one kind of looks like way more.
This is the one from yesterday.
Yeah, and this one we just did. I mean, both look great.
Yeah.
But we're gonna give them a little taste. So this one is today. I mean, watermelon is so water solid, you know, that like it's gonna easily take on the flavor of the marinade pretty quickly.
Mhm.
So that's pretty good. And then our one from yesterday.
Yeah, I taste more of the sort of seaweed, the umami flavor,
Yeah.
in the one that's been sitting in the marinade a little longer.
I taste the sriracha a lot more in that one too.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Ah,
Just
our
heard the-
rice is done.
so I love this. This is one of my favorite because I love to cook rice, and I'll always burn it usually if I put it on a pot. But so it just popped, you know. Now it's just staying warm. So I'm gonna take a fork and just kind of fluff the rice gently. You don't want to over mix it, but just to help get it fluffed and ready for scooping.
Yeah, if you just go and start to scoop your rice, that's when it's gonna get all kind of clumped together. You wanna take a fork and just lightly fluff it. That way the individual grains of rice are gonna separate.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna start to build our bowls. How's it looking?
It looks great. I
Nice.
love the flavor of jasmine rice too. It's a little different than basmati. A little more floral, hence the name.
Can you pass me our bowls?
Yes.
So let's do a nice sizable portion of rice in each bowl.
Okay, the rice has been fluffed.
We have fluffed our rice. So you want to do about a 1/2 cup portion of
Yeah.
rice. That's a reasonable portion. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but that's going to be our suggestion.
Oops, a little there.
I'll take this one.
Thank you. There we go.
So this is looking so nice. I'm just going to let that cool for a second before we put all of our raw elements on there. I'm going to kind of push it over to the side so that we can make our bowl look all beautiful. And I think we'll work with the watermelon from yesterday, right? Following that FIFO agenda, first in, first out. You want to use up the older food before you start getting into the new food. So our edamame is also cooked. So I'm going to put a little bit of edamame. Your protein, you can do a larger portion, about 1 cup or 3/4 of a cup. I love all of the bright colors of this dish. Pink and green kind of like remind me of spring, but either way, she's gonna look good. So we've got our rice and our edamame, and when you combine a bean and a grain, a rice and bean, you get a complete protein, right? So you have all the amino acids that you need in this bowl right here, right now. All right, so next I'm gonna take, are we missing one thing? No, I think we're good. I'm gonna take this slotted spoon and start to take some of the watermelon. I'm gonna try to not get any of the seaweed. You can always add seaweed into the dish later if you want.
Right.
So I'm gonna put this right next to it. I'm gonna try to alternate colors here because we also have the cucumber that's green. Oops, got some seaweed there. And I like to put some sesame seeds on the rice and the watermelon. I think it kind of makes it pop and look really beautiful. So would you like to go and do that?
Yes.
And then we've got our cucumbers here. I swear you can elevate any dish by adding sesame seeds on top. Obviously, if it goes with the flavor profile, but it just
Make it
looks
look
so
so
much
far.
nicer, right? Garnishing is really an important element. It's a little hard to see with the lighting, but maybe we'll do another shot in a moment once we get all of our components together.
All right, go for it.
All right, so I'm gonna add some cucumber, right? You can't overdo the veg, so add however much you want. This is so beautiful already. And then we'll do some pickled radishes. I feel like the last time we made pickled radishes at home, Noah made a jar like this big, and we just were throwing it in everything. It was so good. So I'm gonna do a little layer of the pickled radish next to the cucumbers, again, alternating our colors. This is gonna be our sour component.
Gorgeous. Look at that color.
Yeah, beautiful,
Hold one up so they can see it a little bit.
nice. All right, and then we'll do our,
Ginger.
I'm gonna do the avocado real
Oh, yeah.
quick. So about half the avocado per portion. Right in there, right in there. And then we'll add a little pickled ginger on top. Would you like to spicy mayo, please?
Oh, yeah.
Let's grab this.
So, just gonna drizzle across.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Good.
Great.
And then let's see if we can get an overhead shot here of our tuna poke bowl looking so nice. If you can see this watermelon, I think it looks like tuna from far away maybe, but let's give her a try. Where did we put our other fork? In the rice?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so a little rice, a little tuna, got that spicy mayo, and a radish.
Can we get everything on one fork?
Let's try.
That's the fun of it. I think I got 95%. Try and squeeze a cucumber on there. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, it's a good kick.
Mm-hmm.
This is the recipe of the season, in my opinion. This
No
is
doubt.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
Can mix it all around. My God. What words come to mind when you eat this?
We always say fresh,
We
but it's so
do.
fresh. But you know, it's nice. I was never a big raw tuna fan anyway, but I've had it. It's okay. But you know, this is a nice sort of alternative where you can get some really fun flavors. Obviously, it's highly nutritious. We're all incredibly vibrant plant foods in here.
We're hydrated. We're packed with protein. We're packed with fiber. We've got all the things going on here.
It's a win-win all around.
Yeah, so we're gonna dig into this. Really hope you make this recipe. I hope you learned something new in this episode, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, happy cooking. We'll see you again.